Chapter 4 of The Road from Orion. And this is a beautiful picture of Melancholia 1 by Albert Durer. The second coming, hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight somewhere in the sands of desert, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blanket pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, while all about it real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The second coming, William Butler Yeats. Written accounts confirm that during the heat of the summer, it was not unusual to find William Flinders Petrie in his maroon underwear digging in the hot desert sand. Leonine, rough, hewn, bearded, and passionate about how an excavation should be conducted, Petrie had no fear of getting dirty or sleeping with mummies stored under his bed. Excavating for 45 years in Egypt, he had an uncanny sense of discovery aiding his thirst for knowledge. The British archaeologist and the Egyptologist was largely self-taught with no formal education, yet it was his precise record-keeping and meticulous preservation efforts that made posterity call him the father of modern archaeology. He spent from 1880 to 1883 studying and excavating the Great Pyramid of Giza, where he would sift and examine each shovel of sand. Sir Flinders Petrie, another of the pyramids and temples of Giza, discovered that the base circuit of the Great Pyramid represented the Earth's three separate lengths of years: the solar tropical year, the sidereal year, and an anomalistical year. To William Flinders Petrie, the Great Pyramid was a symbol of glorious past and a higher spiritual reality. Petrie's exactitude in scientific excavation techniques matched his integrity, for gold digging and grave robbing were inferior pursuits for a mind questing for an ancient civilization's hallowed knowledge. He would carefully unravel layers of pitch and cloth to reveal rows of gold, beryl, and carnelian amulets, rings, birds, and lazuli figurines. Sir Petrie gloried in the ancient grandeur of Egypt and promptly cataloged and sent his artifacts to either Cairo Museum of the British or the British Museum. Still, as was the custom of most archaeologists, Petrie personally amassed a collection of 8,000 Egyptian artifacts. The Petrie Museum, which he gifted to the University College of London when he died in 1948. Surprisingly, one uncommon artifact was never cataloged for a museum. It was a small oval box, which Petrie had found in the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid, and he gave it to his granddaughter on her 7th birthday. The ancient ivory box is decorated with 3 hieroglyphs at the top of that signified the name of the god Amun. A bird wearing the feather of the goddess Isis in the center, flanked by the inverted half moon for bread loaves and the Ankh symbol for life. As a child, Lucia treasured the oval box her grandfather gave her, for inside the finely painted relic beneath the polished gold sheet that served as a reflector was a definite quantity of white shimmering sand from an Egyptian desert. The sand was magical to Lucia, so magical that she aged her obsession with Egypt after the manner of her grandfather provoked her to read everything about the land of pharaohs. Her research proved to her that only a fool could doubt Egypt's astronomical erudition. She discovered the Great Pyramid is the most accurately aligned structure in existence and faces due north with only 3/60ths of a degree of error. The center of the Earth's landmass, which is the east/west parallel in north/south meridian that crosses the most land, intersects in only two places on Earth, the Great Pyramid and the ocean. Fact after fact demonstrated Egypt's superiority. Consider that on midnight on the autumnal equinox, in the year of the Great Pyramid completion, a line extending from the apex pointed to the star Alison, which some present-day scientists believe our solar system revolves around. Also, 5 of Egypt's pyramids on Earth match the position of 5 of the 7 brightest stars in Orion. The Pyramid of Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaru, or Menkara, for the belt of the constellation, and the Pyramid of Namak, at Abu Rawash, corresponding to the star Saf, the Pyramid of Zawat al Aina, corresponding to the star Bellatrix. Their architecture on Earth mirrors that of the stars. Lucia learned that the Egyptians possessed a sophisticated knowledge of the hydrostatics and the hydraulic engineering, for during the reign of Menes, they constructed a lofty dike so effective that it actually turned the Nile water eastward to Memphis. Their architectural feats, the temples of Philae, Abu Simbel, Dendera, Edfu, Karnak, including the timeless grandeur of lofty pyramids, still battle the modern world. Historians today wonder how a Stone Age culture could create such monuments to time, how the primitive mortal hand could frame the symmetry of the pyramids, the joints barely perceptible, the casing stones still in position, the centuried cement indestructible. Yet, despite their knowledge, Western historians claim that Greece is the pivotal nexus of cultural and artistic achievements. Always searching through the opinionated muddle of history, Lucia discovered that the Greek historian Herodotus was the first to write about the 7 wonders of the world, and later Greek historians followed suit with their description. 5 of the 7 wonders were built by the Greeks, yet of all the 7 wonders, only one remained, the Great Pyramid of Giza. On a more personal level, Herodotus wrote in Book 2 that the black-skinned Egyptians and Ethiopians have practiced circumcisions since their time immemorial. The Phoenicians and Assyrians of Palestine themselves admit that they learned the practice from the Egyptians. Like grandfather Petrie, Lucia believed modern chemists, astronomers, mathematicians, philologists, painters, and architects could look to Egypt, the origin of their arts and sciences, for knowledge. In light of this wisdom, Greece's purloined contributions look like the chopped liver of Prometheus. As a consequence of her research, Lucia began to believe that the white sand in her ivory box may have had a special use in Egypt. Why else would it come concealed beneath the gold reflector? It must have had a purpose. To unravel the mystery, she analyzed the chemical composition of the great powder and then fashioned a partial thesis for Grotius to swallow so that she could take a leave to investigate the sand's properties. She then hired John and I as research assistants. Like her astute grandfather, Lucia's intuition would prove to be a great advantage in a world of scientists and scholars who sometimes ignored Aristotle's statement that reason is subject to error. Thank you all for listening. Peace, kings and queens. We'll be back with chapter 5 the next time we all get to holler at each other again.